My name is Chloe. Standing in the middle of the once elegant ballroom, now a chaotic mess, I watch as my sister's perfect wedding turns into a nightmare. Broken glass litters the floor, flower arrangements are scattered, and guests are either fleeing in horror or standing in stunned silence. It all started a few years back. I grew up in a family where my sister, Lily, was the center of attention. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, were well-to-do. My father was a successful lawyer, and my mother was a former model who had always dreamed of a life in the spotlight. She poured all her unfulfilled dreams into Lily. Lily was the kind of girl who turned heads wherever she went. With her long, golden hair, bright blue eyes, and a figure that could grace any runway, she was a natural beauty. By the age of 10, she was already participating in local beauty pageants. Meanwhile, I had brown hair, hazel eyes, and a rather ordinary appearance. My mother would pat my head and say, "You're nice in your own way, dear," while her eyes were always on Lily. I found solace in books. While Lily was out winning trophies and making a name for herself as an up-and-coming influencer with a large social media following, I spent my weekends at the library. When I made the honor roll in high school, my parents were at one of Lily's big events. They promised to celebrate when I got home, but they forgot. One day, Lily brought home Ethan. Ethan came from an old money family. His family owned a large investment firm, and they had properties all over the country. When my mother met him, she was over the moon. An heir to that fortune. "Our Lily is going to be set for life," she whispered to my father. From that moment on, every conversation at home was about Ethan. His job, his family's estate in the countryside, and his family's preference for a grand wedding. I was dating Jake at the time. Jake was a schoolteacher, and he was the kindest person I knew. He made me laugh, and he always remembered the little things. But when I brought him home to meet my parents, my mother's smile was forced. "A teacher? That's nice," she said, looking him up and down. Jake and I got engaged. He proposed with a simple ring that had been in his family for generations. I said yes immediately, but I was hesitant to tell my parents. One evening, as we were having dinner and my mother was going on about Lily's upcoming wedding, which was going to cost $100,000, I finally gathered the courage to say, "Jake and I are engaged too. We're thinking of a small backyard wedding." My mother put down her glass and looked at me like I was joking. "Honey, do you really think anyone would come? Lily's wedding is going to be a grand event. We have to invest our resources wisely." My father just stared at his plate, saying nothing. His silence hurt more than my mother's words. Lily's engagement party was held at Ethan's family estate. It was a magnificent place, with marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and a garden that looked like it was out of a fairy tale. I went alone because Jake wasn't invited. "Limited space," Lily had said, not meeting my eyes. At the party, I noticed Ethan's younger brother, Ryan. He was a fitness enthusiast with a chiseled body and a look in his eyes that was hard to read. I saw him watching Lily with an intensity that made me uncomfortable. Every time Lily glanced his way, there was a spark between them. I tried to shake it off, thinking I was just being paranoid. An older man, Mr. Henry, who was Ethan's uncle and the family photographer, approached me. He had a kind smile and said, "You're Lily's sister, right? The one she doesn't talk about much." I laughed, a bit embarrassed. He then told me how his camera could capture things that people thought were hidden. When I got home that night, Jake could tell something was wrong. He held me close and said, "You don't have to keep trying with them. You deserve better." I told him I kept hoping that one day my parents would see me, really see me, the way they saw Lily. A few weeks later, I was helping at Lily's bridal shower. I was there as the helper, not the guest. One of Lily's friends came up to me and said, "You're the sister, right? You two look so different." Lily then appeared, champagne in hand, and said, "We get that a lot." She introduced me as the organized one in the family, as if that was my only redeeming quality. As I was walking to the kitchen, I saw Lily with her phone under the table, typing rapidly with a secret smile on her face. Brandon was at his bachelor party, so who was making her smile like that? That night, I couldn't sleep. A few days later, I got a call from Alex, Ethan's best man. He said he needed to talk to me about Ethan. I was hesitant, but something about the way he spoke made me agree to meet him at a coffee shop. When I met Alex, he told me that he had seen Lily and Ryan together on multiple occasions. He showed me photos of them at a restaurant and even a video of Lily leaving Ryan's apartment late at night. He said Ethan didn't believe him, but he hoped I could help. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. As the wedding day approached, I was torn. I didn't want to be the one to ruin Lily's wedding, but I also couldn't let Ethan marry someone who was lying to him. On the day of the wedding, the weather was a bit gloomy at first, but then the sun peeked through the clouds. The venue was a large, opulent ballroom filled with 300 guests. I sat in the back row, feeling like an outsider. The ceremony was beautiful. Lily looked like a princess in her $20,000 wedding dress. Ethan was beaming with love, completely unaware of what was going on. After the ceremony, the reception began. My mother took the microphone to give a speech about Lily. She mentioned me only as my other daughter, and I felt a pang of hurt. Then it was Alex's turn to give the best man speech. He started off talking about his friendship with Ethan, but then his tone changed. He said that Ethan deserved the truth. Suddenly, a large screen behind the head table lit up. It showed footage of Lily and Ryan kissing at the engagement party and screenshots of their text messages. The room erupted in chaos. Ethan was in shock, and Lily was screaming for the video to be turned off. Ethan lunged at Ryan, and it took several people to hold him back. Lily tried to explain, saying it was a mistake, but Ethan was furious. He announced that he was going to annul the marriage. My parents were in disbelief. My mother grabbed my arm and asked if I knew about this. I told her I suspected. She then asked why I didn't tell them. I asked her if she would have believed me if I had come to her and said Lily was cheating on Ethan. She had no answer. I decided I was done. I told my mother that I was tired of being treated like an afterthought. I walked out of the ballroom, and Jake was waiting for me in the parking lot. He opened the car door, and we drove home in silence. In the weeks that followed, the fallout was severe. Lily's social media following plummeted, and the brands that had sponsored her dropped her. She moved back into our childhood home, broken and defeated. 2 weeks after the wedding, my mother called me. She said she had been thinking about Lily and everything. She apologized for not seeing who Lily really was, but I pressed her on how she had treated me. She didn't fully apologize for that, so I told her to call me back when she was ready to apologize for how she had treated me over the years. Jake and I decided to have our own wedding. It was a simple backyard ceremony with 30 of our closest friends and family. My parents came, and this time, they seemed to really see me. They apologized properly, and I could see that they were trying. Lily and I had a coffee meeting a few months later. She looked different, broken. She apologized for everything, but I told her I could forgive the affair, but I couldn't forget how she and my parents had made me feel my whole life. I told her I wanted her to really see me. My wedding day was rainy, but it was perfect. I wore a $500 dress from a second-hand store, and the flowers were wildflowers Jake had picked. We said our vows, and I knew that I was finally building a life with people who truly saw me. Looking back, I've learned that waiting for others to validate you is a waste of time. You have to build your own life and set boundaries. I'm now living a life that is real and full of love, and that's worth more than any grand wedding.